Welcome, good afternoon. We're looking at my most recent refurb. I do this as a record for the customer so they know what has happened in the refurb and in case they sell the car on. This is a 1999 Nissan Silvia Spec R. It's come in for a full underside refurb and mid-life upgrade. Underside refurb, of course, means that everything comes off the bottom and is dealt with. The chassis of the car is fully derusted, welded, repaired where needed, and then painted up and whatnot. Then everything goes back on. The mid-life upgrade means that everything that's a consumable that wears out is changed. All of the bushings, all of the ball joints, all of the drop links, blah blah blah, gets changed. So let's have a look at what we are doing now. We're at the stage now where the chassis is actually finished pretty much and we're about to start reassembly. Obviously everything's come off the car. The bottom of the car has been completely refurbed, taken back to bare metal and welded where required to prove that everything's been done properly without any shortcuts taken. Every panel is photographed, high resolution, put on the internet, and as part of the refurb. This car in particular was a restorer's dream, basically. There was loads of rust. Every panel was pretty much covered in rust. But only some of it was structural, so only a few welding batches were needed. Most of it was just needed taking back down to bare metal when there's plenty of metal left, which is great. So that was done. Then the next thing to do is to prime. We'll treat where necessary any remaining kind of rust seams, of which there were very little on this car, and then on goes the primer. All restorers have their different type of primer that they swear by. The one I use is a U-POL product. It's a 2-pack, so 2 chemicals mixed together. 2 thick coat of it, an anti-corrosion primer. The reasons I like it are it's extremely tough, and I mean, you could hit it with a hammer pretty much. It is absolutely solid, the best of any chemical I've used, and it has full of zinc as well, so it is a natural anti-corrosion. As well as that, of course, it's a 2-pack product, so it means there's going to be no risk of chemical reaction later on. Anyway, I did that all over. That's this colour that you can see here that's different from the car body colour that you can see up there. On top of that goes the underseal. Obviously, if the car is going to be used as a road car, it's going to be exposed to a lot of chemicals, grease, salt, blah blah blah, so it has to have underseal. So this car is going to be a road car, so the underseal is the black gloopy stuff you can see here. So it's 4.5 litres of primer. It's 6 and a bit litres of underseal in various thicknesses depending where it is on the car, which risk it is. It's a kind of ugly looking affair, crocodile skin, very rough skin. You can thin it down a bit and it can get smoother, but it never looks like proper paint, so I've never seen the point of doing it. You might as well just leave it to look like it looks. I guess we're going to go and have a look all over. In fact, the customer actually originally wanted, on top of the underseal, it needs the underseal because it's going to be a road car, they wanted it painted body colour, but it doesn't, a light colour doesn't really work. You can see a bit here where I've painted this area here. You can see on that crocodile skin there, it really doesn't look very nice with a light colour like this, so we decided in the end just to keep it as the underseal, and it's perfectly fine as a product to be on the outside like this. I guess we'll just go around panel to panel just to show you everything. The white areas are areas obviously that have been masked mating surfaces. Obviously the underseal stays slightly squishy as part of how it works, and so you can't have it between metal surfaces, so this is where you just have the raw primer here where something's going to mate onto it. Wheel well. All around here very rusty on the car, but all dealt with. Not sure what you can see there. This is a mating surface, obviously, same here. All bolt holes, all bolts obviously masked up because I don't want to damage the integrity of the threads. Wheel well. Very rusty, just as part of being a wheel well really, so taken back to bare metal. No welding required here, and the metal was all plenty thick, so no problems there. If the underseal looks all weird, that's just how it's meant to look. More mating surfaces there. The arch lips are a little bit difficult, so I've kind of hard to explain, but I've done them and sealed them all up properly. I'm not sure what you can see up there. With a slight colour mismatch coming down here, obviously. So that's, I'm going to sort that out later. That's my paint. That's the original car. That's all we can do, rusted down there. These areas, seals are always problematic on these cars, Skyline Silvias. So I've done what I need to do, more mating points there. I've had to do a few welding patches. I'm not sure if you can see it around here. This all had to come out because it was just rotted. So that's all new metal, but you can't really see it underneath the underseal. It's all solid, obviously. Same thing with the lip. Got it back as best I can, and I'll worry about the colour match a little bit later. Arch. Pretty top notch now. Some welding had to be done down here, a patch. There's just a weak point in these cars around here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's all covered up and safe now. This area is just based, I've just left it as the primer because it's low risk. This is it's all sealed in by the fuel tank, so it doesn't need it's just no point of putting this. Coming down onto the car. These bits usually get quite a bit rusty, any low hanging bits, and the boxes. The boxes themselves, it's obviously exterior box section car. They rust inside, so what I'll be doing as the last port of call before assembly is treating the insides of them with an anti-corrosion wax to protect them for the inside, including the seals. We'll talk about the seals in a minute, I guess. Oops, I missed a bit there. Down here, this is kind of an inside bit of a seal, so they get super rusty, so that's all being dealt with. Quite rusty around here usually, it's all dealt with, and seams, all of the seams of which, you know, this external seam cast, there's loads of seams everywhere, so I don't know if I can see any examples. There you go. Up here the seams are exposed and there are weak point that absorb moisture on these cars, so I've on top of the primer and below the underseal on every seam I put a thick layer of polyurethane sealant just to keep that solid. It's, you know, it's a 20-year product, so. Some more mating surfaces there. I've done it all inside the transmission tunnel because they're so badly protected from factory, these cars, that they get rusty, just surface rust, but I think it's worth doing. More contact surfaces there. Down this side. Again, I just like to do this as a full record of what's been done, and again, if you want to see the, you know, what happened before all this, then I keep that fully logged as pictures. It's part of the job. Seals on this car. Maybe the other side will be better. Decision always has to be made with seals on these cars, Skylines and whatnot, rust quite badly from the inside out. These were borderline, whether I had to replace them or not. If possible, I don't like to replace them because they're very difficult to replace, because obviously they're full of these points, especially one with a body kit like this. And if you get those points just slightly in the wrong place, it's an absolute nightmare. So I've decided to restore these, or, you know what I mean, not cut them out. I think they were just about on this side of the edge, so I think I've been okay. So everything's stripped down, everything treated where it needed to be, primed, painted, I've lacquered as well, just to give it protection because we're going to get water running down here. I've made no attempt to colour match it because everything here is hidden, obviously, by the skirts and whatnot, so it doesn't really matter. It just needs to be strong and waterproof. Inside the seal as well, I've got an endoscope and treat from the inside out as well to give it its protection there. All the way to the front. As I said, it's all going to be covered up by bumpers anyway. It terminates there, it just goes onto my primer here and up, further up. Front wheel arches. No welding required, steel's fairly thick. Always get problems up here with all Nissans due to their design, but so I've cleared it out fully, resealed it and then primed it and then undersealed it. So it's going to be plenty strong. I've done all the way up, I've done all the way up and including the chassis arms up here, so that's the primer there. You can paint on top of it, you can paint on top of it, all of it if you want, but there's no real need. Even that there is much more protection than the factory protection, of which there is almost none. That's 2 thick layers of zinc 2-pack primer. That's going to last a long time. You can see the polyurethane sealant I've used there that's exposed. I've done obviously the front cross member as well. It's a known weak point of these cars. It was salvageable, so that's fine, so I've done that. Onto this one here. Obviously you only underseal where you need to underseal. Areas like this you don't need to. Just a big contact patch with the fenders here. Done up, yeah, all this which is rust, if you can remember for the original pictures. This is always a difficult area to reach, obviously, with the engine is, you just do the best you can. So this is going to remain primer, but as I said, it's more better protected than the original, what it was before, so I've got no concerns there. Eventually this car is going to have the engine out and the bay done, I believe, anyway, so obviously you've got to do up into the engine bay as well. So that's done here. I don't know what you can see there. Up as far as we need to get, so it's all protected. And I guess that's about it. Next job is going to be to mask up again, spray inside all of the box sections, of which there are lots, to get them fully protected, and then assembly can begin. Welcome back. Before we do the components, I've decided to do the cavity wax before I forget. So I've done all 8 box sections and the sills. So the giveaways, you can see the wax just coming through the little holes before it dries, and along the sills you can see it dripping down in the little holes that still need clearing. Right, so components. Let's see if I can remember what's what first. Shields. These were all rusty but serviceable. It's the fuel tank shield, which is actually silver as standard, but I decided to derust it, take it back to metal, prime it and paint it black. These are the exhaust shields, or the other exhaust shields at the rear. Same thing, but primed them, painted them silver, high temperature paint obviously. We've got some various structure bars here, there, and there. Just to keep the width structure in the car. They've been glass blasted back to bare metal and powder coated, satin black. Anti-roll bars, same thing, blasted back to metal, powder coated black. These guys here are the fuel tank straps, derusted back to bare metal, primed and just sprayed black. We've got these cast iron brackets at the front here. Again, a bit dirty now because they've been in the workshop for a month, but blasted back to bare metal, powder coated. These guys here are a bit more complex. There's always the option of, these are the hub assemblies, 4 hub assemblies obviously. There's the option of stripping them down into all their sub-components, which can be done, it's fine, and they can be powder coated, or they can be dealt with as an assembly, and I've dealt with these as an assembly. That's just, you know, how this was costed. But you know, I'm getting pretty good at dealing with these assemblies now, so I've got everywhere that can be got to derusted and hand painted, primed and painted metal paint. Got there in the end. Prop can't be blasted, so just manually stripped back to metal mechanically. Primed, loads of zinc primer, everything that I've painted, zinc primer, lots of, and black paint, polyurethane paint, because it's just the strongest I can find. These guys here, like the prop, there's the option of stripping down the drive shafts if you want, but I prefer, if they're perfectly fine and serviceable, just dirty and rusty, just to leave them as an assembly, and just obviously manually stripping everything down back to bare metal, priming and painting. Nearly good as new, not quite. Some hubs back there, same thing, just stripped down and painted. It's got a toe bracket there, it's been blasted and powder coated. We've got some front crash bar here, bumper bar, whatever you want to call it, two-piece, a bit dirty again. That's been glass blasted down and powder coated, that dude there as well. All the way along there, that should be fun getting that back on. Miscellaneous brackets from all over the car, too small really to get powder coated, so I've mechanically stripped them all down back to bare metal, primed them and painted them with my polyurethane paint. Various brackets have all got to go back together. A couple of structure bars here, dirty again, covered in dust, but you get the idea. Blasted and powder coated, gearbox, cross member blasted and powder coated, brakes were all fine, nothing needed doing. So I just cleaned them up obviously to make them look nice and new, and I've got a couple, I've just bought a pen of that colour, so I need to just touch up a couple of paint chips. Oops. A couple of bits of plastic I've just cleaned up and painted, obviously 30 years of grot come out of them. The various fixings, most of the fixings are perfectly serviceable, screws and bolts and odds and sods, so I just label them up and reuse them. Some need replacing obviously, judged on a bolt by bolt basis. Speaking of which, the ones that need replacing, various bolts you need to source from Japan and buy, various clips, some of them at huge expense, like $50 for one of the tiny little clips, ridiculous. Various stuff that just needs doing, because half of them were missing off the car, bits were hanging all over the place, so it has to be done to bring it back to new. That's what we want to do here, bring it back pretty much as it came off the factory. Well, to be honest, better, more protected than as it came off the factory. Where do we get to? Diff, obviously stripped down to metal, primed and painted, apart from that bit which is obviously aluminium, not much to say there. New bushes obviously. Next we've got the subframe or the suspension assemblies, whatever you want to call them, front subframe, track arms, caster arms, drop links. I've reassembled them obviously, they were taken down. That was blasted, powder coated, blasted, powder coated, blasted, powder coated. The customer just wanted these left as they are, aftermarket ones. New ball joints obviously, new bushings in here obviously, Super Pro, so more or less the best you can get. Rear subframe, same thing, blasted down, a bit dirty now, and powder coated, and treated inside I should say as well. The box sections have to be treated inside. Rear track arms the same, new ball joints, new Super Pro bushes everywhere throughout, same with that dude there, that traction arm, new bushes and liners there. Most of these bolts I could just reuse the old ones, they were serviceable. Aftermarket arms I've been told just to leave them, they're going to get replaced eventually anyway. New diff bushes there, done there. All assembled, not torqued, but ready to go on. What else have we got? Not dealt with this lot yet. A couple of trims, exhaust. There's nothing really to do, just polish it up a bit. Fuel lines, brake lines, all of that has been wrapped up and protected. Usually I need to make my own brake lines from scratch, from copper nickel, but these ones, mercifully, were actually in pretty good condition. Tiny touch-up, bit of a repaint, otherwise they're fine, not much rust. So I'm super happy about that. Same with the fuel lines, all fine. There's no point of changing it if it's fine. Brake discs, more or less brand new to be honest, so just leaving them as they are, not polishing them up to make them look nice, but that's it. Is there anything else I've forgotten? I don't think so. Let's go and get that lot on there. Welcome back. All done, or pretty much all done. The engine's been connected, fuel connected, exhaust connected, engine run and tested, hydraulics, brake pipes fitted, bled, checked, all the suspension stuff on, loaded, torqued and checked, and no problems, which is great. So, absolutely spiffingly, this one's gone. I'll have a quick look around. I don't have a great deal to talk about because I've got no real problems. Main panels are on, but the skirts and stuff that go around here are not on. So I'll do that afterwards. And a tiny bit of paint work. looking pretty much like it did when they came out of the factory. These I've been told not to refurb because they're going to be replaced anyway, the orange ones, so I've just left them as they are. It's been a little while since I recorded the last bit of this video, so I can't remember what we talked about last, but I'll just show everything we've got, I guess. Again, this ugly bit, this all gets covered up by the skirts, so yeah. These are all the new bushes that are fitted throughout. I've done a rough wheel alignment on it, but it'll need to go for proper four-wheel alignment just to get everything perfect, obviously. So I would say that is all looking better than when it came out of the factory, in terms of the parts that we've dealt with anyway. A lot of the bolts I've just replaced because they're rusty and old, so I've just put new bolts in. I still need to chop them down. That just reminded me. Not sure what we can see up there. Splash guards and stuff were a mess when they came here. They were cracked, they were nasty, I didn't fit, they were held on by tie wraps. Now we've got all the original Nissan fittings for them and they fit absolutely perfectly. And all the cracks repaired. If you can see the ugly around here, it's just because it's part of the paintwork I need to finish off. I'll do that at the very end. All the way to front cross member. This car doesn't have the engine tray for some reason. I've advised that the owner source one and I'll fit it. Front again, no problem, everything absolutely spiffing. Mechanically I do love these old Nissans. Bodywork that gets very rusty, but mechanically they're, to be honest, an absolute pleasure to work on. Very rarely get mechanical problems. Whoops, in terms of refurb. Again, splash guards back to standard, everything fitting perfectly. That's pretty much it. Not a great deal to talk about because it all went pretty well, to be honest. I'll get the last bits finished up here. I'll give the inside and outside a bit of a clean and then we're done. I hope that was interesting and bye bye.